I had to drop the edit and come over here and say that as Chup is releasing on 25th of November on ZEE5, I got the opportunity to talk to Dulquer and Shreya. I could not pass down on that opportunity. I have to also preface that Dulquer was kind of under the weather, but he really pulled through for me, especially because the interview was late at night. So I hope you like the interaction and thank you again for the support because it's because of you that I get these opportunities. So hello and welcome to the Tried&Refused Productions YouTube channel. I am extremely honored and slightly nervous because I love these two actors who are with me. Dulquer Salmaan and Shreya Dhanwanthary, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Anmol, for having us.
Thank you.
Yes. So I wanted to first start off with a question for both of you. For quote unquote such an eccentric topic and going for a theatrical release, did you envision that such a topic will connect with audiences the way it did, and did it also break the notion of this stereotypical sort of idea we have of what kind of movies work in theaters?
Sincerely, genuinely, no. Didn't expect.
But I was, I mean, I felt like the need of the hour was authentic, original storytelling, and I felt like Chup had that, in loads, and so that gave me a bit of confidence. I was like, maybe what is tried and tested is not what is working. Maybe something that's really out of the box would at least find a certain curiosity. And I think the trailer had that, and so I was kind of curious. And I loved Balki sir's confidence. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. We have to give it a shot. And essentially, that's how films have always been made. Like traditionally, it's always been taking that blind bet and putting it out there and hoping people come and watch it.
The fact that we genuinely didn't have any idea of how it will fare, we were confident of what we were trying to put out, but we didn't think that people would connect to it this much. And I think that gave us a lot of confidence. What was even more special in our particular example is that we did a free view where the public saw it before anyone else did it. And then we started getting audience reactions before anyone else, before the critics, before the industry, before even we actually had properly seen it. So that was a little heartening. After the reviews from the audience came out from at least like 12 cities, after that I think we were a little...
The marketing was on point.
Right?
I have to.
We have Balki at the helm. Come on. I mean, advertising genius right there.
And we've all sat and tried brainstorming, all the done before ideas.
Trying to do something different.
And then he just randomly had these brainwaves. And not even when we were brainstorming, suddenly we'll get a call and like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. Yeah, let's do this.
But that was a masterstroke.
All of it. All of
that
it.
really was.
What's hilarious is when the trailer dropped, so I follow a lot of these trade analysts and critics on Twitter, and they have a star for teasers, trailers, posters, everything. There's a star rating. And somehow all the stars had vanished suddenly because there's pandemonium whether we should do it or not. It was quite inventive.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a big
got the stars out of the way.
point.
Dulquer, I wanted to ask you, I remember very vividly during Solo, you had very passionately spoken about a particular part of that film which you felt was probably its intention was something and it was deciphered as something else by the audience and critics. And I remember reading that entire post, and you were very passionate about the way you reacted to, say, said criticism. Over the years, have you dialed down in the sense of the kind of feedback that you're getting, and do you read a lot of things when your films do come out?
Before he answers, big Solo fan, just saying.
Love Solo, by
just
the way.
Saying.
It's in
Before
my underappreciated list as well.
I genuinely agree. I genuinely agree.
So funnily enough, I recently went back and read this post. And I'm like, man,
I don't know this post.
I was such a baby.
What was in this post?
I literally sound like a kid. I'm like, I'm so upset. I'm so like...
because there was a very emotional
so much
moment
angst.
In the movie where the reactions were, people were laughing at it.
Not even laughing, they were almost like booing it, and they were really awkward about it, and when they were awkward, they were...
I mean, I do know the audience reaction. I think, I'm sorry, I love you, Janta, great, but Solos was unwarranted.
Great,
that was unwarranted,
so,
because I genuinely thought it was brave.
And also, it was such a brave attempt.
It was brave.
We're trying to do something like that, and it was a tough film to make.
It was
Nambiar is awesome.
Another level.
But
shout out.
Nambiar also, Nambiar.
Yeah.
You're listening to this. He will work you to death. Like you are, like we're talking 20, 21 hour days. and non-stop, and he is ready to keep going, right? So you're like, okay, man, if he can do it, I can do it. Let's do this, bring it. And in 2 languages for the first time, and it was nuts. But I was really passionate about the film. So yeah, so when that got slammed in the way it did, and a lot of things worked against the film. Like we tried a Tamil release, Friday the film release, and Saturday it was exhibitor strike. So the film ran exactly 1 day in theatres.
Oh,
So
I didn't know
yeah,
this.
everything came
It
together.
was quite the mess.
It was a mess, and so I was really heartbroken. And I was like, at least give it a breather, especially in Malayalam. And I feel like people weren't allowing it to breathe, because a lot of the people, different sections of the audiences who could accept the themes in the film, they were open to it. They were like, whoa, what's the big deal? It's not bad. Yeah, sure. I'm not really thrown off or awkward about this idea. And
But in retrospect, when you're looking at it that I was a kid, or that sort of like the conclusions that you have today, what is your relationship with film criticism today?
He's basically asking, do you still feel the same way?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure if I worked really passionately on a film, and if it gets misunderstood and slammed in a way that I find is unjust in some way, I'm sure I'll still feel as passionately about it. And now it's like when a film really gets accepted and gets love, that also makes me very emotional. So I don't think we realize how attached to our movies we are.
Yeah. The sentiments are the same, I believe. I feel like a disconnect would be really heartbreaking.
No, if you disconnect, I feel like maybe you're not putting your heart into the film. You know, like if you truly believe in this, and a lot of the times we hear these ideas maybe years ago, and then everything comes into place, you start filming it, and you're still hoping it's still a fresh idea. And it's such a confluence of so many factors that you cannot control. So when that magic does happen, for me it's really overwhelming. Like I was distraught at the Sita Ramam screening. I was like, boo-hoo, like I want to like bawl. Because I was like, this is way beyond what I expected it to be.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Shreya, I first of all wanted to say great to see you finally, because I've been rooting for you. I still remember seeing stills from the 2009 Telugu film. I still remember being like, no, but, I mean, a different time. So we won't forget that. Everything's a learning process.
Sure.
But I wanted to know, is there still an industry perception of, say, actors who are digitally doing really well and that transition to the mainstream? Is there still a perception that she's doing well there, but we can't really take the risk of, say, signing her up for a mainstream film?
Genuinely, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Because the person who signed me up for Chup did not know what I did, in the sense that he thought the girl from Scam is different from the girl in Family Man.
Okay.
And then he signed up the same girl to do the role in Chup. It is really heartening that I don't think there's that much of a distinction, because there's so many people who are doing well. And I think when filmmakers, whether it's writers, producers, directors, whoever, I think when they're looking for talent or looking for people to work with, I don't think they're making a demarcation as to where they're working or where they're coming from, as long as they're adding to the project that you're doing. I don't think there's a distinction or a demarcation, but I can understand why you would think that there's like a transition.
Yeah. Was it surreal though that you got a straight offer then for this film?
It's surreal every time I book something. Every time I'm on set, every time I get to do something, every single time I get to be a part of anything, it's surreal. He has personally experienced that and tolerated that. But
but that childlike wonder is beautiful then.
Yeah, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard to let go of something that you've always like dreamed of, and I can't believe I get to do this. It
is a blessing.
It's amazing. So that's never going to change.
Coming to, again, the filmography and the year that you've had, Dulquer, I wanted to say that I have a sense of respect for you and your dad as well, because of just the kind of characters you're playing, be it morally ambiguous or diabolical. So I was wondering, when you're looking at, say, the commercial market in your home ground, which is Kerala, is there ever a fear of playing only aspirational characters? And whether you want to balance both, which is experiment as well as do that commercial mass film also?
No, I think it's a great market to experiment. But I've always tried to find this balance. Like I could never go, full indie or full commercial throughout my journey so far. I kept trying to find content that I could relate to and that I thought was really has substance. And then I would try to make it as commercial as possible. Like, we would try to get a commercial music director, we would try to cast it well, and it's well shot, it's colorful. So there was always a sort of bandwidth as to how commercial I could go or how artsy I would go or indie I would go. So it's always in this sort of lovely middle ground. And I think that is where I found my cinema, and I think that's where that's defined most of my filmography. But now I'm also feeling a lot more secure to try maybe bigger cinema, maybe.
Is that what King of Kotha is?
King of Kotha is definitely the biggest film I've done, at least my production. It's probably like something that's more towards the commercial end of the spectrum, but again has I think substance and writing and great conflicts and stuff like that. But it's a great time, I think, to experiment, but also to push that experiment in such a way that it reaches maximum eyeballs. So like you package it like that. So
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Shreya, also about. So you're really active on Twitter, okay?
Hey, I think I'm very funny on Twitter, and I'm fully underrated.
You are hilarious.
Thanks, man.
I have to ask you because you're an active part of the industry, and you are vocal about certain tropes which you probably don't agree with. Has there ever been a hindrance in, say, your working relationship and the problems that need to be called out? How do you coexist with both of them?
Very honestly, I think I'm as vocal because I think I'm very much under the radar. I feel like not many people have found out that I am a little active on Twitter. So I think I can afford to stay a little honest as long as I am under the radar. The minute I start getting a little more...
Yeah, the minute your tweet makes national headlines.
Oh, no, it did.
Oh,
it did?
Yeah. Something I said about... I'm not going to say.
Oh,
so, but because my dad called me up and what the hell are you been telling people? I'm getting Hindustan Times articles quoting at me. I'm like, what did I say? And then I'm looking at, I'm not going to talk about what it was, but I feel like the minute it starts actually affecting and invading, and if I start getting a little bit more, for a lack of a better word, popular, I think I'll start shutting up. Maybe. Only you think I'm entertaining. What should I do?
No, you are entertaining.
You are my 4 followers.
Her commentary on the dating game in Mumbai is hilarious. But,
see, I'm funny. Hai.
Yeah, you are funny.
Full underrated. Coming
to Dulquer, again, I have to say you had a tremendous year. And I wanted to ask you, because you have worked in Tamil, Telugu and Malayalam cinema and Hindi cinema.
I know, it's too cool.
What is universal, say, of storytelling, despite the difference in sensibilities? What's something universal working in different states for you?
I think it's just the passion towards telling these stories, which is why like I've honestly I've never had this kind of a plan that I would do all of these languages. But a lot of the times, when I get a script, even if it's a language I don't know, and I'm like, this is an amazing film, this is an amazing role, irrespective of whether I know the language or whether I have recognition there or a market there, I'm like, I just want to be a part of the best cinema wherever I can. And I think that is the common thread in my filmography. And I think that's the one thing that binds all of the industries together. We're all passionate about cinema, and we're all passionate about telling these amazing stories.
You're not checking off boxes. You're just creatively resonating.
It's just been organic. I'm like, if I'm getting offers, and God willing, I'm able to listen to all of these narrations and able to filter these things. And a lot of them I can weigh it out. It can be weighed out vis-a-vis an offer in another language, and I'm hoping I'm picking the best of the lot. And I'm not differentiating based on industry or language or whatever, the monies or the screen time or whatever. And I think that's the beauty of it. And in that I get to experience, I can see how a Balki sir operates, or an Anwar Rashid or an Anjali Menon, at the same time a Mani Ratnam. So it's amazing. And I think just being amongst these great artists and talents and seeing their passion and how they tell their stories, that's definitely common. But also,
the passion,
we do have a commonality in our themes being so Indian.
It is, yes.
This is what I mean. I want to be Dulquer Salmaan when I grow up.
Working everywhere. Shreya, I wanted to ask you, this is a personal question because of my love and hate relationship with Mumbai. There are long periods of time where work isn't really there. And that's where I feel like individual perseverance.
Itna personal mat ho bhai.
No, a little. But I feel like,
was he listening to?
No, I wasn't. See, I connected so hard. But, your character, your perseverance, it gets tested almost every day, I feel like, and it's a very thankless city.
Very.
So I wanted to ask you, where, you know, people assume this digital boom that you've had, but there are years before that where probably nothing was also happening, and you're constantly trying to, get your foot in the door. People who do come to this city with big aspirations, what is your take of what you personally did to carry on? I know it's a rather generic question, but it is something that I feel like people listen to, and it is a warm hug to them in this rather crazy city.
I don't know how much of a warm hug I'll give. I think I'll probably give a tupply. But, it's hard. It's really hard, and I don't know. I don't know how I managed to continue. I mean, every day I think about, okay, shit, I should actually consider doing the GMAT and doing an MBA. Every single day I think of like, kya kar diya yaar? How long is this going to be? And that feeling never sort of goes away, of wondering where your next job is going to come from, where the next call is going to come from, the stability that you're standing on a boat that's not completely rocking, that's never going to go away. So, I mean, if it has to be advice, I'm very useless. I don't know how I managed.
What was driving you every day?
That's what I'm saying. If you genuinely love this place, love cinema, love what you want to do, love the idea that you've built up in your head and the part of what you want to be, if that's clear, then come. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy. It's really not. Otherwise, every day, I have a few people in my life, him included, who I regularly cry to. Like, I'm going to cry, I'm going to get some nice advice, I'm going to get some nice tasalli from people, and then that happens at regular intervals. But it's not an easy feeling to live with at all. So unless there's a little madness and a hell of a lot of love, don't do it. It's not nice.
Aside pragmatism over here really
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, warm hug and all nahi milne wala hai. You will get truth.
That's also true. I wanted to
shit, I'm so useless.
Now conclude by asking the both of you about. I was seeing a very old Raj Kapoor interview, and he was talking about how there are all like your movies are your babies. And there are always some babies who don't cross the finish line, but they really hold like a special place in your heart. Is there any part of your filmography, both of you, and this is again connecting with the Chup theme of criticism, of intention versus what the audience took from it. Is there a movie or some work that you did which is dear to you like that?
It's a little unfair to ask me this question because I feel like I've just started. He's actually had like a illustrious filmography, so he will have.
I definitely
all my babies have grown up and I've gone to college and graduated with honors.
With honors, yeah.
Underlining
honors.
With great honors, huh?
But we already mentioned Solo. Also my debut Tamil film called Vai Mudi Pesu.
Yes.
Which for me was an amazing experience because the entire second half of the film was silent. Nobody speaks.
Because of Vai Mudi, obviously.
Yeah.
Because
I'm saying the film now it's so almost ironic. It's so similar to say COVID and the pandemic. In the film, the disease is like you lose your voice and it spreads by speaking.
There are Reddit threads about this.
So everybody is. Huh? Where is it? I don't know where it is. We'll find it. But so the entire town is basically banned from speaking because as soon as you speak, it spreads and you lose your voice. So everyone is signing, right? And it's not trained sign language. So you're trying to like. It was the most amazing experience. Wow. Like an entire 50% of the film, we shot like that, and we conceived scenes like that, and we staged it like that, and we'd figure reactions, and it was left to us by the director to be like, this is what I want you to communicate, and you figure how you want to communicate. And if he had some tweaks, he'll tell you. And I loved it. I loved the film. I loved the experience. And so they were like, since it's 50% of the film is silent, we can do it in 2 languages, in Malayalam and Tamil. And Tamil, I think, still did well in like the A centers and stuff. But Malayalam, nobody got it.
Oh God.
They were like, man, like I would see people come out of cinema like, finally, like it took forever, and finally somebody spoke in the film. And I was like, what? You guys? So those things was like painful when I think of it then.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating.
Because, isn't it? I mean, for us actors, right?
No, no, it sounds actually
and
fascinating
you hardly
as a
ever
concept.
find something like that. So yeah, that is probably one film that I. But I mean, it was critically acclaimed and stuff. But there was a major section of the audience that just didn't get it. Yeah.
Anyway, so 25th of November it is.
Yes.
For whosoever did not catch Chup in theatres, you can watch it on ZEE5. I have to say, I had a ball watching it on first day first show because it was a packed theatre.
Thank you.
So Lovely to
I'm
again.
telling you, I paid all those people to be there. Most of them are my family.
Oh yeah, true, true. Noida, Uttar Pradesh, I don't think so.
Hey, Delhi.
Oh,
NCR.
okay, okay. So, good connect. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
and
you.
it
Well,
was
Anmol,
lovely.
thank you so
lovely
much.
discussion.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
And you're doing a great job. Yeah, keep up.
Yeah, seriously.
Thank you so much.